I'm here with my friend Maninder Singh, also known as Manny by his close friends, and I do consider you a close friend. And I thank you for sitting down with me just to talk about prosperity as possible and your background and your business. So can you just tell everybody what you do for a living?
First of all, thank you for having me, Mary. I am a business owner here in local Pittsburgh area. I have a couple of different companies with which we do pizza, being the main portfolio, and we are in gas and also in commercial hood cleaning company.
Okay, so you have multiple pizza restaurants,
Yes.
gas stations,
Hmm.
and a cleaning company.
Yes,
That's quite a lot on your plate.
it is, and a newborn.
And a newborn and a
Yep.
wonderful wife, Stacy,
Yes.
who probably helps you out a lot.
Oh yeah,
Shout out
she's
to
my
Stacy.
biggest supporter, and for me to do this every single day.
Well, let's back up a little bit
Mhm.
to how you got to this point in life. So tell us where you were born.
So I was born in India, and I left from there when I was like around 17 years old. Went to Ireland. I did my associate degree down there, but my always ultimate goal was to come to U.S. because I always heard like U.S. is the land of opportunity where you can achieve anything you want. And no experience, no nothing. My very first job, I started working at a McDonald's, took an hour and a half bus ride each way because my ultimate goal was to get to U.S.
Is that
And
when you were in Ireland?
that's when I was in Ireland,
So you're in Ireland, you're still in your late teens.
17.
You're 17 years old, you're working in Ireland, and your
Yep.
goal is to come to the United States
Yes,
because you have a dream.
because I have a dream, and this is the land of opportunity, which everybody says. And I was like saving money, living under the means, and learning the language actually a lot better because I had to learn. I wasn't so good at speaking English at that point.
Mhm.
But then finally in 2019, I got an opportunity to come to the university down in Florida
Okay.
to finish my bachelor degree. And that's how I end up in US back in 2005.
So what made that possible? Was that like a student visa?
The student visa did. The college I was studying in Ireland was affiliated with the university in Florida,
Okay.
and they actually transferred me because my GPA was pretty good.
So you were a good student.
I think so.
It's good advice for all those young people out there. Study hard because it pays
Oh
off,
yeah,
right?
it definitely does.
So education and your success in that area gave you some opportunities
Yes.
that enabled you to come here.
Yep.
All right,
in
so
2000
fast forward then, you're in college, you're in Florida, and how did you get to the point where you own all these restaurant chains and
So I had like some really great mentors throughout my life.
Mhm.
So the people I talk to, pretty much everybody, like anybody I meet, I always learning from them because you never know everything. So you need to learn, or you need to meet people. So that's how I got into um, working with PNC Bank,
Okay.
and I worked with PNC till 2012 when I ran into my current business partner, who gave me a chance, and I started with very small share in the company.
Mhm.
But not that he mentored me through it, but he also let me make a decision that which could be right or wrong, so I can learn from it. Not every decision is the right decision ever, but he always helped me to get past my mistakes, and he said, okay, you learn from your experience and you move forward from it.
So when you came here, it wasn't that you had a specific dream that you wanted to be in a restaurant business. So you wanted to come here for the opportunity,
Yes.
and an opportunity was presented to you and you took it.
Yes, because as I said, over here, the one thing about US is that you get everything you want if you put your hard work in. It being said that you have to put your hard work in. This is the only one country in the entire world where you actually can achieve anything in your life as long as you put your mind to it. And that's why all around the world, the people want to come to US because that's the shining house on the hill.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
I've met your mentor,
Yes.
and you kind of told me the story that you just briefly touched on.
Mhm.
You said that you always would ask him if you were making the right decisions, and he let you fail.
So he just in the beginning, I used to like call him all the time, like, hey, how to do this? Hey, Cam, how to do this? And one day he's like, just make a decision. I was like, but what if I make a wrong decision? He said, well, correct it. But until you get out of that, the bubble, you're not gonna grow. So you kind of have to make a decision. And here we are, like 10 years later, at the point where we started with one store with him. In 2017 is where the owner of the Chili's actually like took a shine on me and like started mentoring me because he see what I can do. And we went from 2 locations to 11 locations with span of last 4 years.
Wow. And are you good at making decisions now?
Oh yeah, I am. But I still like am very much relying on my team on that because you need to have good people around you. So that's one of the biggest thing. I value my team a lot because I've been given a lot of opportunities in my life by great mentors, and that's what I try to do to my teams and mentor them in the things that grow. So I have staff members who've been with me from day one when I started the business, and I still have them till this day.
So it makes me think of your elements of success was, having a mentor, having opportunities, taking advantage of opportunities, which means taking some risks.
Yes.
Not being afraid to make mistakes, and having good people around you working for you.
The biggest thing, like you have to take a risk. Like the business entire thing is a risk.
Yeah.
Like if you don't take a risk, like there's no rewards. You have to take a risk. And my biggest supporter in this whole thing is my wife. She helped me like take a risk on anything like that I want to do.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure about anything, I'll just go run everything past her. Like, okay, what do you think about this? And her answer always to me is, what do you think? Like, how do you think like you can do this? And I always like give her answers. So she's like, look, you always have the answer already. So that's what I do with my teams as well, because I go back to them and ask them like, okay, what do you guys think? Because again, I'm not in the store every single day. They are the front line and the face of the company. So they should be able to feel confident in what they're doing. And I'd give them full freedom to make a decision, take a risk. Again, like how Cam did with me. If you make a wrong decision, we'll correct it.
Well, that's kind of in line with Americans for Prosperity's view of just how the government should work in general too, is that bottom-up solutions. And you just said that about your business. The people that are closest to the problems are the ones that often have the answers.
That
and
is
you
true.
see that played out in your businesses
Yes.
too.
Because like the thing is, you need to know what people want. I can sit in an office and make any decision. It's not going to work unless the people who are implementing those decisions are happy with it, or they buy into my idea, like what I want to do. And I need to let them know how this whole thing works. So I need to be able to explain, and that's what my mentors does with me. And they always like, okay, how about like we do it this way or that way? It's not ever that, okay, this is how it needs to done, and you stick with that way.
So, Americans for Prosperity, we're doing this because we're doing a Prosperity is Possible tour. And, I consider you a very successful businessman, and your story is very interesting. If I asked you today, because you've been doing this for a while, is prosperity, possible today? Well, I should back up and say first, what can you define prosperity for me?
In my opinion, prosperity is taking care of your loved ones and the people you care for. So that's for me, that's just not just my own family, but it's also my extended family, as in all my team and my employees and everybody.
So if you can take care of yourself, your family, immediate, extended, and then the people that work for you that help you be successful, that's prosperity to you. And is prosperity still possible today for young people just starting out?
Oh, it definitely is. Like, as I said, this country still, if you put the hard work in, you get anything and everything you want. Again, the thing is, you have to put the hard work in. If everybody is on a same playing field, we'd never be successful.
Are you saying you reward hard work?
I do reward hard work, because as a business owner perspective, I'm happy to provide you with the money and anything else, whatever needed, if we are bringing in the revenues. And because again, I have to bring in the revenue to be able to do all that stuff.
Right.
So the company, when company does good, so does the employee. That's why we do the profit sharing. That's why we do anything and everything what they need our help with. Again, I'm a small company. I'm not at the point as where with the college education and all that stuff, but day-to-day life, if anybody have any problem, they know that very well. They can pick up the phone and call me, and we can help them through. Because I tell everybody, I might not have an answer for your problem, but I might know somebody who might know somebody. It's about asking the other person, because you never know what the other person is going through.
That's true. Everybody's going through something.
Exactly.
It's nice to have a close group, people you can depend on.
Exactly.
Personal and professional.
Yeah, that's why like we in our teams, we talk about there's a reason I still have my very first hired employee 11 years later, because we talk to each other and we have open communication. They help me, I help them.
Well, speaking of your business, what would you say is the biggest obstacle that you face right now?
The biggest obstacle today is the inflation. In the books and stuff, it looks like inflation is going down, but like looking from the business perspective, it actually isn't. The cost of merchandise is still very high. The workforce is very thin right now, which kind of make it harder to operate any business nowadays. And I think it's a lot because of the policies and stuff we've been putting in place, and also like with policies which were put during COVID. In my opinion, I think it pushed a lot of our baby boomer and Gen X into early retirement that kind of have affected our entire workforce. Businesses overall are doing better. They can do more if we have like the workforce what we are looking for, and B, people getting the work ethics what required to be able to be successful.
Well, I imagine you hire a lot of younger people too in this business. Are
I
you
do.
finding that younger people have less of a work ethic?
I don't think they have a less of a work ethics. It goes back to like the same thing. Like I think the way I grew up and the way I found my mentors and stuff and everything, they're not getting same kind of mentorship at the family level as well, because mentorship start at your house. How your parents raise you and like on that. So I think we are lacking more and more on that, and where people are losing more of the family values, which kind of spills into pretty much everything else.
Let's go back a little bit to, you said inflation. So your cost of goods obviously went up drastically.
Oh yeah, like our cost of goods have gone up like at least 30 to 40%.
And that makes it hard on the consumer, because you
Yes.
have to raise your price, you have to raise your wages to keep good employees.
Yes. So average, like it literally have like a trickle down effect, because as I said, for me to take care of the business, the revenue that's coming in is from the customers. So if my cost has gone up 40%, then I have to raise the prices to keep up with that, because again, I have to make sure I pay my workers, I pay all the bills and everything. A lot of people don't understand in the business is that they think every dollar coming in is a straight profit. It is not. There's a lot of cost to do the business, which actually has made it harder. Like everything has gone up, like not just the product, insurances has gone up, safety equipment, everything, rent has gone up, utilities have gone up. So where do I like get all that money from? I have to raise the prices on that. And then I look bad in the thing that I'm doing it, my way. Like I'm not, but that's how it is.
You kind of have to, or you're not going to be in business.
Exactly. That's why you see a lot of the businesses going out of business, because it's kind of hard to keep up with all that.
I thought President Biden said that inflation was going down.
I would love to see that where it is, like, because the cost of my goods are still pretty high overall, and it's just crazy how we can keep up with that, and it's very hard.
Well, we're hoping that we see a turnaround.
I'm really hoping for that, because as I said, like the business itself, like this country is built on small business.
Yes, it is.
And the small business is the one which is hurting the most right now, because of all these policies that's getting put in place.
Is there anything specific that comes to mind as from a government perspective of what you would like to see change? It's a very general
I
question.
would like
I know.
actually like to see if we can go back to the policies where we had it, like you get rewarded based on how you perform.
Yeah.
Because when we put everybody on a same playing field at a same level, the output, and this is proven by, like, you can go to any HR firm, anybody, like they can tell you when you have the high performance, they don't see the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Their performance level go down, because if a low performer is getting rewarded the same what high performer is doing,
That makes the incentive for the high
Exactly.
performer go away.
Yes.
So they stop performing.
Yes. So that brings like the entire thing down. That's one of the reasons a lot of these businesses and everything goes out of business.
So you're basically saying you don't believe in, the equity of pay, equal work for equal pay, in a way.
Yes and no on that. Like, I believe, like, as I said, you should get rewarded if you work hard.
Mm-hmm.
If I have an employee who's working X amount of hours, but producing 50% less than somebody who's putting less hours,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean they should get paid more
Mm-hmm.
just because they are more.
Right.
No, like somebody who's producing more, because like I said in the beginning, you get everything based on what the revenues come in.
Mm-hmm.
So if this Y employee is bringing in a lot more revenue but putting in less hours, doesn't mean they should get paid less.
Right.
It
Yeah.
should be based on performance. It's not based on just you being there.
I agree with that statement. All right, so thinking back now, you've been here for a while, you've learned a lot, you have successful business. If you could rewind the clock and give yourself one piece of advice or one regret, that you would do something differently, is there something that comes to mind?
Oh yeah. Like there's definitely, if I can go back myself like 15 years or 10 years back, I'll say more like 15 years, I would be like, I should have been like a lot more open-minded the way I am today, and look for a good in every person, as compared to going down the rabbit hole of a stereotype, or going down a rabbit hole of just thinking, oh, just because I was told by XYZ, that means it's true, without doing my own research on it. So I have learned a lot from it, which actually opened a lot of different paths for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had some friends, which used to be my friends, is they always wanted to be that, oh, like your mentor should be this kind of person, which is not true. Because if you look at, like, for example, like one of my mentors, like who is the owner of a Chili's chain, like you look at him, a normal person will not look at him until he has that many, he owns 11 brands. Like he is that simple person. But previous me would have judged based on that look, as compared to actually knowing that who this person is. So I've learned from it that you need to get to know somebody before you actually pass a judgment on them.
That's a great advice.
Yeah,
I love that.
I just tell that to every young person, or even older people, like,
Yeah.
like that thing which we hear all the time, never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Actually, we need to implement that in life as well.
Well, I think right now, like politically, there's a lot of judgment on people.
Yes, there is.
There's a lot of division, and I think there's a lot of commonality that we don't always realize that we have.
That's what, like, me and Stacy usually talks about, is that's like the biggest problem, because what made our country great was people able to work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what the political climate is doing is dividing people from each other, because that's the oldest trick in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, divide and rule. So the less we work with each other, less productive we're gonna be. You can have your own thought, I can have my own thought, but we still can be able to work together.
That's
on the
right.
thing. So we gotta have to find out, okay, what's our common ground is, because without the common ground, we can't accomplish anything, because not even our 5 fingers are same size.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a simple thing. You need to find the good in person. Are there bad people? Yes. But are there good people? Way more than the bad people in the world.
I think the media feeds the divide, and I think that Americans have a lot more in common than we think that we do. Would you agree with that?
I think like 80% of our country has a common view if we talk to each other.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, they're like have too far of a views on either side, but majority of the country has where they can find a common ground to work with each other.
So our advice then would be to get to know people, don't
Yes.
make quick judgments,
Yes.
and realize that we all have a lot in common.
Yes.
And I've learned that a lot of times we have the same goals and we just have different views on how to get those goals, even when we are divided.
That's actually is the best thing. Like even in our company, the way we look at it, as long as we are focused on the same goal, yeah, like that's what like I call diversity is that you have diversity of ideas. I really don't care like you're white, black, purple, brown, whatever. It's just the thing is, do we have working towards the same goal? And if we do, like diversity of ideas, how can we get there? Because your idea gonna be like different from my idea, but you probably would have a lot better idea than what I'm thinking. That's why like my frontline staff, when I talk to them, a lot of time I come up with the idea and say we want to do this, they're like, well, this won't work in this environment. I'm like, okay, you actually right, so we got to change and based on that. So talk to each other, try to figure out and have a common ground.
Well, I think whoever works underneath you and gets the opportunity to have you as a mentor is going to be really lucky.
Actually, nobody work underneath me. Like we all work together. You can go around in my company, ask any employee.
Yeah.
Not even a single person will tell you they work for me. Everybody say we work with Manny. Yes, it's one big team.
Well, I wish you continued success in your multiple business venues.
Thank you. Yeah.